Hello bookish people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Megan. In today's video we are going to be doing my March 2023 book of the month predictions. I almost butchered that, but I didn't. I am very excited to be filming this video. One, I love doing my book of the month predictions because I love seeing what new releases are coming out. Also, it is February 22nd as I am filming this, and I am in the midst of a massive reading slump. I have read a total of 3 books this month, and it's not because I don't want to read. I just have been extremely busy. This month I really put my whole heart and soul into my business. I run an eBay and Poshmark store, and honestly, Monday through Friday, I have been working from 9:30 in the morning. I leave my house and I don't stop working and listing till like 10 p.m. at night. So there really has been no time for reading. Usually that's where I listen to audiobooks, but I really just been listening to a lot of other resellers and like just absorbing a lot of reselling content. And I haven't really been into my bookish content lately. So that is definitely one of my goals for March. And I'm very excited to read about these new release books because hopefully that just gets me into the reading mood. And honestly, if you have any like book suggestions to get me out of a reading slump, please comment them down below because like I desperately want to get out of this reading slump, but it's really hard to get back into it when my mind is just very distracted by everything else. But yeah, let's get into it because this is a very exciting month because I'm pretty sure Book of the Month gave us 2 in-app hints this month, and I'm very excited about both of these hints, so let's just get into them. So the first in-app hint that we were given this month, if it really is an in-app hint, honestly, I didn't really think anything of this graphic until I went on the Book of the Month Predictions Facebook group, which I absolutely love that Facebook group. It's just like a really great community of readers on there, and everyone's just a Book of the Month fan like me. And so this, everyone thought that this graphic was possibly a reference and that they were giving us an early hint this month. And it says the forecast calls for books, and you have these 2 mittens with a book, and there's a ship on the book, and there is 2 fantasy releases coming out in March that have ships on the cover. And to be fair, one of them releases February 28th, which is the one I'm really hoping it is because it is one of my most anticipated releases of this year. Well, one of my most anticipated fantasy releases, I should say, of this year. So let's just talk about that one first. And that one is The Adventures of Amina Al-Safari by Shannon or S.A. Chakraborty. And this book is following our main character, and it seems to be a pirate adventure story. And honestly, it was giving me like Chessa and the Emerald Sea vibes, but probably just like a little bit more of a serious tone to it. And the reason it gives me those vibes is because it's pirate adventure story on the quest to save somebody. I am very excited for this book. This is the one that releases February 28th. So honestly, it would be perfect for a March Book of the Month selection. And yes, regardless of this is a Book of the Month pick or not, I will be reading it. And honestly, this is like in-app hint number 1 / the fantasy genre we're going over because the second selection that I think could possibly, or the second prediction I have for this graphic is another fantasy book. And that is Lies We Sing to the Sea by Sarah Underwood. Now this is actually a Greek mythology fantasy book. Okay, so I'm just honestly going to read you like kind of snippets of the synopsis from Goodreads because I've tried to reword this on my own and it's just not coming out right. Each spring, Ithaca condemns 12 maidens to the noose. This is the price vengeful Poseidon demands for the lives of Queen Penelope's 12 maids, hanged and cast into the depths centuries ago. But when that fate comes for Leto, death is not what she thought it would be. Instead, she wakes on a mysterious island and meets a girl with green eyes and the power to command the sea. A girl named Melantho, who says one more death can stop 1,000. The prince of Ithaca must die, or the tides of fate will drown them all. So yeah, I think this one could also be a selection. It comes out March 7th, but honestly, the Goodreads ratings on this, it has 172 reviews so far, 272 ratings, and it's a 3.29, which doesn't sound that great. I mean the book sounds fine, but like I'm someone, if I see bad ratings on the book, it just turns me off. So hopefully it's the other one, but I know a lot of people would be excited for this one too. Now we're going to be moving on to the romance category, which are genre, which I love romance. So honestly, this is the ones that should pull me out of a reading slump. And the first one we have is Too Wrong to Be Right by Melanie Johnson. In this book, you're following Mick and Kat. Now Kat is a florist and she is always in bad relationships, and she just broke up with her boyfriend, and her best friends have just moved on to serious relationships. So she's like, you know what, I need to stop dating the wrong guys. Well, fast forward, she has a meet disaster with Mick, and she meets him at his family's funeral home, and they kind of have an instant connection, but she's very wary of the relationship because she just doesn't want to get herself into another bad relationship with another wrong guy. So there she is trying to avoid their instantaneous bond, and can they really just be friends? And that is kind of what this book is about. I'm really excited for this book. This is one that has kind of been on my radar for new release romances. This one also releases February 28th, making it a perfect selection for March. And I don't remember, did we have a romance option in February? Because basically in 2022, they were doing like every other month, they were doing romance books. I kind of forgot if we had a romance option in February. So I always put the romance category in all these prediction videos, but they don't always pick romance every single month. Next possible romance pick is The Love Wager by Lynn. Now this one has a publication date of March 14th, so could possibly be a selection. And in this one, you're following our two main characters, and they kind of have a one-night stand situation, and the girl does a walk of shame home, and she's like, that's it, I am done with this, I need to change around my life. So she decides to kind of improve herself, and then she goes on the dating app to find the one. But instead of finding the one, she finds a Jack, who is the guy that she just had the one-night stand with, and they connect again, and they decide that they are going to work with each other to find the loves of their lives. And they kind of go on dates with each other, so like if she's going on a date, Jack will be there, so that way if the date goes bad, that she'll just like hang out with Jack in the end. And they kind of have a love wager to see who finds their first who can find their love first, but of course they end up falling in love with each other. And again, it just sounds like a really like fun rom-com book. And Lynn Painter is an author that has been on my radar for a while because a lot of people read her YA books. I know a lot of people have hyped up her adult romances as well, so I would be very excited if this is a pick, so we shall see. Now we're going to talk about historical fiction slash the in-app hint, because this is the in-app hint here. You can see there are these candles and their flowers, and it's very reminiscent of the cover of The London Seance Society by Sarah Penner. Now she is the author of The Lost Apothecary, which was also a book of the month selection. I read The Lost Apothecary. I absolutely loved it. I have been really anticipating her newest release, so I am so excited by this hint because this is like automatically an automatic selection. You guys already know what I'm going to pick. I'm definitely picking this one, so we'll see if any of the other ones are going to be add-ons, but this is a definite pick of mine because The Lost Apothecary was so good. It was just such a great story. And so in this book, you're following our main character, and she is known for dark seances, and she's known for conjuring the dead of murder victims to lead the real life people, the people who are still on Earth, to their killers. And then we're following her as she's drawn into this really dark murder investigation, and she's kind of teamed up with this other girl who just lost her sister, and she's not really into the occult, but she's trying to work with her to find her sister's murderer. Now we're moving on to the fiction category, and the first book that I'm predicting that Book of the Month can potentially select is Hello Beautiful by Anne Napolitano. In this book, you're following our main character, William, and he has a rough family life, and his parents don't really pay attention to him, and he just does suffer a lot of neglect from them, so he finds his solace in the basketball court. But one day he comes across this girl named Julia, and they kind of fall in love and have a romance, and he is kind of brought into their family, and she is inseparable from her three sisters. But then his past starts to boil over, and it really says, can love cure a broken person? Or wait, can love make a broken person whole again? Something like that. It just seems like an emotional fiction book. Honestly, not something that I would really be interested in reading, but I know this is a very anticipated fiction release for a lot of people, and so I could definitely see this being a Book of the Month selection. The next fiction prediction, which honestly is one that I have a lot of interest in, so I would be very happy if this ended up being a selection, and that is What Happened to Ruthie Ramirez by Claire Jimenez. And in this book, I'm just going to read you the kind of blurb on top because I feel like it just kind of says it all. It says, a deeply powerful and raw debut novel of a Puerto Rican family in Staten Island who discovers their long missing sister is potentially alive and cast on a reality TV show, and they set out to bring her home. Honestly, first of all, the cover is gorgeous. It sounds like such like an interesting premise, like emotional, but yeah, it's like interesting. Like, I don't know, I'm always like fascinated by like, you know, anything that involves like reality TV in a book, right? I'm in for that. Like that kind of gives it more of like, I feel like a fun element to it, but it's also probably like emotional, and it just seems like an interesting story. Also, it is a debut novel. Book of the Month loves debut authors, so I could definitely see this being a selection, and this one releases on March 7th. So I feel like sometimes when it releases like much later, like in the month, it's like kind of like a maybe, but like when it releases in the beginning, I feel like it has a good chance of being a selection. Now we're moving on to one of my favorite favorite categories, which is the mystery thriller category. And first, we're going to start with a repeat author. The book is The Angel Maker by Alex North, which I actually put in my February predictions video because I believe it releases February 28th. So I kind of had it in my February predictions. Now it is in my March predictions because you know what? It's February 28th. So it could have gone either way. He is a repeat author, and in this book, you're following our main character, Katie. And when she was a teenager, her brother Chris was brutally attacked, and she's always felt a lot of guilt over that. But now in the current timeline, we have a detective solving the murder of this professor, and he thinks it's connected to a past serial killer and that there is some link to Chris's brutal attack in the past. And it just seems like a really interesting book. Alex North is an author that I've seen tons of people read his past releases. I've always been kind of interested in his books, so I would definitely be excited if this was a selection. The next mystery thriller book that I'm predicting is What Have We Done by Alex Finley. Now, he is also the author of The Night Shift, which was a new release I was interested in 2022, but I didn't really necessarily hear the best reviews of that book, so I kind of just like never ended up picking it up. But this one also has a really interesting premise to it. So in this book, you're following three main characters, and they were kind of all grew up in a foster home that was shut down because a lot of the kids ended up going missing. So the foster home was shut down and they were split up, and now they're being kind of reunited as adults because somebody is tracking them down to kill them. And I'm going to read you this little blurb because like honestly I just think it makes it so much more enticing. And so, a stay-at-home mom with a past, a has-been rock star with a habit, a reality TV producer with a debt, three disparate lives, one deadly secret. Like, oh my god, do you not just want to read it? And that was the same thing with his other book. I wanted to read it so bad, but then I heard bad reviews and I didn't. But like, maybe I just need to get over when people say bad reviews about the book. Maybe I just need to make the opinion of myself and just read it anyways. But yeah, I would be really excited if this was a selection, and the publication date for this is March 7th. And the next mystery thriller book we're going to talk about, I honestly feel like if this was a pick, it would be an add-on, and that is The Golden Spoon by Chessa Maxwell. And the reason I think it's going to be like an add-on is because it gives me similar vibes to The Maid by Nita Prose, and that was also a debut novel, but it wasn't a selection, it was an add-on. So let's talk about this one. I'm going to read you the little blurb here. A killer is on the loose when someone turns up dead on the set of a hit TV baking competition in the darkly beguiling debut mystery that is perfect for fans of Lucy Foley, Nita Prose, and Anthony Horowitz, soon to be a limited series on Hulu. Like, you guys, this just sounds so good. I'm just gonna read it to you because like I can't describe it better. This is the third time just reading the summary because I don't know how to read. Like, I haven't read in 2 weeks and suddenly my brain has forgotten how to do it. Production for the 10th season of Bake Week is ready to begin at the Gothic estate of host and celebrity chef Betsy Martin, and everything seems perfect. The tent is up, top tier ingredients are aligned, and the crew has their cameras at the ready. The 6 contestants work to prove their culinary talents over the course of 5 days, while Betsy is less than thrilled to share the spotlight with a new co-host, the brash and unpredictable Archie Morris. But as the baking competition commences, things begin to go awry. At first, it's merely sabotage, sugar replaced with salt, a burner turned too high. But when a body is discovered, everyone is a suspect. A deliciously suspenseful thriller for murder mystery buffs and avid bakers alike, The Golden Spoon will keep you guessing until the very last page. Say less, say less. I want to read this book so bad. Oh my god. Like, if London Sand Society is pick, hell yeah, picking that. The Golden Spoon is picking that. If any of the other 2 mystery thrillers I talked about was a picking that. Like, my box is already maxed out. Well, these are like my hopefuls, really. I don't even know if we're calling these predictions. They're mainly hopefuls. Yeah, if I am correct, my box is already maxed out. I was looking at my list to see what other predictions I had, but I guess that was it. Those are all the predictions that I have for March 2023 Book of the Month predictions. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully this will get me out of my reading slump because honestly, these new releases sound really good and I really want to read them. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe down below for more bookish content. I really need to film my February book haul because I hauled a lot of great books this month, and I feel like just like filming content and talking about the books that I want to read or books that I recently hauled, or like this one doing new releases, is really going to help pull me out of that reading slump because I'm getting excited about reading again already. So again, drop your suggestions down below for books to get me out of a reading slump. Tell me what you think is going to be a March Book of the Month picks, and tell me which books next month you were excited for. So thank you guys all so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.